And breaking news coming in as the investigation continues into Puja Khedkar. Now, top government sources have told CNN News 18 that prima facie, it seems Puja Khedkar could face severe action leading up to termination. Sources also indicate that criminal action could also follow if forgery of certificates is proven. The inquiry committee will look into all the aspects. I'm joined by my colleague Arunima on the broadcast to get more details. Arunima, this is a stunning indictment of the entire system. How could forged documents, OBC certificates, even mental impairment certificates allow a person to take up a position, even in a probationary role, as assistant collector in Pune?
Yes, and therefore the top government functionaries are indicating to us that even though an inquiry has been ordered and the final report from that one-man inquiry committee is awaited, prima facie, whatever they have heard, whatever the central government functionaries have heard from the state, from the local collector, from the state chief secretary, it looks like that a case is made out which could lead up to termination of service for the probationer, not just for her, but all those people who perhaps collaborated or conspired with her to get these allegedly fake certificates made. Because questions are being raised as to if her father declared in his affidavit, in his Lok Sabha affidavit, he contested Lok Sabha elections recently, if in that affidavit he declared so much property, crores of properties are in her name also. So even if she is living with her separated mother, how can she be called in EWS category or the economically weaker section category? Is that claim then false? Second, her OBC certificate itself. Questions are being asked if that has been forged as well. Third, she claimed disability and also claimed that her mental faculties were unsound and therefore she should be given some kind of advantage for that. So question is being asked is that how can somebody who's not completely of sound mind be given a role like that of an IAS officer? So a lot of questions have been raised after her candidature came to focus. Indications that we are getting is that once this inquiry committee submits its report, UPSC could forward what action it recommends, and the DOPT is now prima facie veering towards the strictest action possible against her, leading up to termination, and there could be criminal cases if it is proved that these certificates were forged.
Thank you, Arunima, for getting us the latest when it comes to the one-member panel that is looking into Puja Khedkar. But Yasha is also joining us on the broadcast. So, Yasha, this entire matter has brought to light the fact that how someone could really subvert the system, give forged certificates when it comes to her mental state, forged certificates of her OBC credentials, forged certificates of her disability, and then wield so much influence inside the position of a collector in Pune. And now at the same time, while the transfer has taken place, is that punishment enough at the end of the day? Because it seems that while the entire system failed to catch all the red flags, even the Pune police, where a probationary officer had a VVIP beacon on top of an Audi car, even they failed to act in time. What we're also learning is that since 2022, challans worth 26,000 rupees have been pending when it comes to that Audi car belonging to Puja Khedkar.
Absolutely. In fact, not only that, but now considering this issue has in fact blown out of proportion is where we see the statements Atul Save stating that her OBC certificate that has been submitted would also be cross-checked. In fact, this statement comes in after Puja Khedkar was transferred to Vashan. Here, not only the car, but there have been several allegations, several discrepancies that have in fact emerged when it comes to this very case. One, of course, we saw that the Pune collector had mentioned in a letter to the chief secretary stating that she had used undue advantage of a position, not only at Pune, but the undue advantage was used of a position. One, of course, to get the beacon on the car. Secondly, there has been a report submitted by the Navi Mumbai police as well to the state home department stating that when she was in the position a couple of months back, she also tried to shield one of her relative who was arrested for a theft charge in Navi Mumbai. She called up the DCP directly. So all of this, as the case progresses, is where we see each and every department which is involved in this case probing and trying to understand the irregularities that have been maintained. One, of course, we see that the Pune traffic police is involved. The second, Navi Mumbai police has also gotten involved in this. We've also seen the state department, in fact, the Minister Atul Save stating that they will look into the OB certificate. Of course, the central government-led one-member committee has already been formed to to understand the discrepancy about the certificate that she submitted before the OBC panel. And not only that, like, when we speak of the fact that she submitted an OBC certificate, the fact that she submitted a physical disability certificate to get through IAS, in fact, she scored the rank of 821 in the UPSC examination. But while she did all of that, there were several repeated attempts. In fact, it was mentioned by our top sources that almost 6 times was when she was called in by the UPSC to undergo the very medical examination by the UPSC panel themselves. But she did not even appear for that, and she in fact in turn filed a court case against them, and that's where she appeared for the examination. A clear-cut example of how she tried to flout each and every norm possible and get through UPSC. And not only that, after getting into UPSC, she tried to use that undue influence with the help of the position that her father held earlier, or with the help of the position that her family holds in Pune. She tried to use that undue advantage and get several facilities which were not due to her. This entire lid was blown only when there were several RTI activists who spoke about this instance, and particularly when the additional collector in this case, Ajay More, reported that when he was away at Mantralaya for some work, and that's when she tried to take over his ante-chamber as well as cabin, ask for her nameplate over there, ask for her letterhead, then ask for visiting cards on at that very location. So all of these are something that have now emerged. In fact, that is a part of the entire report that has been submitted by the committee which was looking into this case. And like we've been spoken about, how the transfer to Wasim is just one such instance. We can call it as a punishment posting, but is that enough? Is something that the state government will also have to look into, apart from the central government, which is looking into this whole case. Here, it is clear that for so many months, while this instance was reported, it was reported to the state government, but despite that, she was continuing with her position at Pune as it is. And now, only once a transfer order comes in is where all of these details regarding the way she was working with her colleagues or with her juniors is something that comes to light. Yes, Ayushman.
Absolutely. We have to wait and see what the one-member panel reveals, ladies and gentlemen, because it's baffling to see how a probationary officer was able to exert so much influence as assistant collector in Pune, and now that she has been transferred, is transfer punishment enough? Also, the role of other members of her family, were they able to intimidate public officials when it comes to Puja Khedkar having her way? Now,